Hey, it's January 22nd. If everything goes according to plan, this is going to be episode 1. I'm Jody. Leslie from thebeardediris.com is in Atlanta, Georgia right now. And here we go. Episode 1.
Our 5-second rule. If it takes less than 5 seconds to pick the dog hair off, it's good. We are breeders.
Yes, we are breeders. Here we go. This is episode 1. It's like a German disco in here right now. Leslie, put that bottle of Bartles and James down. This isn't that kind of party. Put down the Bartles and James. This is a Zima party, strictly. Only Zima. Are you shaking your head? You're not willing to crack open a nice Zima with me?
No, it's been about 20 years since my last Zima.
20 years? Well, 2008 was when I sadly watched the last Zima roll off the assembly line. Cried a little.
Really? You were a fan of the Zima?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Who wasn't a fan of Zima's? It's just a delicious citrus carbonated beverage. What are you talking about? No, I don't think I've ever had a Zima, to tell you the truth. I'm pretty sure I've never tasted one.
Good, you were worrying me for a minute there.
Right. Well, I want to get one before we jump into our planned topic of the day this evening. I want. Did you watch the presidential inauguration? Any of the festivities that went along with this at all? Did you catch any of it?
Just the highlights.
Just the highlights? Because that's pretty much what I caught, because it was on CNN during the day. But there was one thing that I watched, and I want to play this for you, because it seemed like it was maybe the cheesiest thing that I've ever heard. And I feel like both parties involved should have been above this, and I just want to know just if you heard this, if you just take a listen to this. I want to know what you think about this.
Obama's on fire.
Did you hear this?
No.
You didn't hear that? That's Alicia Keys on stage in front of President Obama, taking one of her songs and changing it to "Obama is on fire." Now,
Obama's on fire.
they're both above this, right? Is that what?
Yeah, that's too bad. I really like that song too.
Everybody, well, I mean, my wife likes it. I don't really jam out to it in the car, but when I heard this, I was like, this is a talented girl. And this is the president of the United States. And this is what we're doing? Obama's on fire?
Yeah. I don't know. I started to have an opinion about it.
No opinion on it. You don't care either way, huh?
No, I was more frightened by Al Roker's display this morning on the news. Do you watch the Today Show?
Oh, no, absolutely not. It's garbage.
Oh, God. Well, they showed him just flagging down the president, saying, Mr. President, how about the weather? President Obama and his wife are walking by and waving at everyone, and he's waving at Al Roker and thanking him for the weather. And then Al Roker got the vice president to come running over and shake his hand. And it was embarrassing. I felt bad for all of them.
The whole thing is, the whole presidential inauguration was extraordinarily, everything I saw about it seemed extraordinarily painful.
And I can't look at Al Roker with a straight face anymore ever since he revealed that he sharded at the White House.
Yeah.
Did you hear that story?
I haven't been able to take him seriously since he lost all the weight. Like, I liked him and he was the big, fat, jolly guy, but I heard about the sharding. It's unfortunate. So
that's not a hand I would want to shake if I were the vice president.
No, you just don't want to be involved with him in any way. You can't, because the jokes write themselves. But tonight we were planning on talking about this is the first time we've ever really done a show together. I was luckily pointed in your direction. I was like, I'm gonna do a podcast. I don't know why. I'm just going to. And I put a post up on Reddit. Do you ever spend any time on Reddit? Do you frequent?
I try not to.
Okay.
That place scares me.
Avoid it at all costs. But there's a parenting subreddit there, right? And it actually seems like some very bright people are in there. And I was like, hey, I'm trying to find somebody to do this with. And like 5 or 6 people emailed me, and they're like, the bearded iris. The bearded iris is the person that you want to join you. So I just want to kind of give a little bit of a backstory here as to how the hell we got together, because this is the first time we're ever doing this, really.
Well, I'm so flattered. I'm glad you found me, and so far so good.
I am too. But what we wanted to talk about was like we're both parents. I'm pretty much a new parent. I've got one that just went to bed. He's about 1 year old. How many you have? What you have? Like what? 7 kids or something like that? Like 9?
Three. I have three that I know of.
Might as well be 7. You know, at that point, once you get beyond 1, it's all the same, right? Like, you might as well have like 13, 14. Whatever.
Yeah.
But so I haven't really. My kid is just now starting to show me the ways that he's going to start destroying things in my house and injuring himself and all this. And then I read your blog last week, and you decide to drop the bomb that kids are getting their. All of our precious snowflakes, if they have an aluminum drinking bottle, which are very common. They're sticking their tongues in them. Why are they sticking their tongues in them? I don't know. We're obviously raising them to not be that intelligent if they're doing this. But if they're sticking their tongues in, and the tongues are getting stuck, and like horrible things are happening, and this is just from water bottles. And I'm looking around my house, and I haven't even baby-proofed the house yet. I've got cords that are laying on the floor. I walk outside of my house. There are exposed corners. There's frayed electrical wiring sticking out of the wall, and I know that something horrible is going to happen at some point, right?
Yeah, you are fucked.
Yeah, and I haven't started yet, and he's getting into everything, and I'm like, God, I have to baby-proof the house, but I don't want to be the person that goes all psycho and pads everything and all that, because the kid has to be able to at least somehow figure out that some things in the house aren't safe, right? So.
No, you know what? Even with all of the baby proofing we do, I mean, look, that's why we all went out and bought the metal water bottles, because we wanted to protect our children from the BPA and make sure.
Is that what it is? It's protecting from the. That's why I shouldn't use plastic water bottles, because of the BPA.
Yeah. I mean, supposedly there are some brands that, even though they're plastic, they're the right kind of plastic and they're safe, but. Cheers.
Is this like I don't know if people are watching the video,
brand?
They can see this is a Camelback.
Okay, you're safe. That's a good one.
Okay, good. I'm gonna take another sip here while we discuss our water bottles.
Yeah. So all the parents ran out and bought the metal water bottles, the stainless steel, because we wanted to protect our kids. And then we find out that children are getting their tongues stuck in the small-mouthed metal water bottles, leading to tongue amputation and/or accidental suffocation. So no matter what kind of baby proofing or child proofing or protecting your kids you do, they're going to find a way. That's what kids do.
So, all right. See, I feel like I'm handling this a little bit better than my wife, because my wife is, she's got the mom thing going on, right? Like anytime that she feels like there's even the slightest threat to the snowflake, she goes into psycho mode, where she wants to do everything to the house. She wants to clear everything off, because he has yet to really injure himself in any real way, right? I'm trying to explain to her. So first of all, this is a little boy, right? So he is going to hurt himself in ways that you can't even imagine. Like I remember when I was 4, I dug a hole with a shovel, threw the shovel into the hole, and then jumped into the hole, forgetting the shovel was there. And it was like a cartoon, right? I jumped right onto the spade of the shovel. The handle comes up, smacks me right in the face. Okay, and then it like chipped my 2 front teeth, broke them both off, clean in half, and I run home. My face is bleeding. My 2 front teeth are broken in half, and my poor mother, she looks at me, and it's just like, oh my God, what have you done to yourself? And I'm telling this to my wife, and she's looking at me like a ghost, like she can't even imagine any of this ever happening to the snowflake, and I'm just trying to explain to her, like, it's going to happen. And I'm just panicking about the baby-proof in the house. And there's just, why am I a parent? I don't know what I'm doing, Leslie.
Yeah, no, you don't. And it's actually better. I think the less you know, the better you're going to do in this department, because whatever you do, don't flip through one of those One Step Ahead catalogs. Do you get those in the mail?
One Step Ahead catalog? What the hell is that? What the
fuck are you talking about? It's a catalog for baby and toddler supplies, and there's a whole section in the catalog for safety, for baby proofing. And you will learn things in there that you had no idea you were supposed to baby proof.
Like what? What? Like all right. Here's what I know. Right. I'm supposed to keep the chemicals locked up somewhere. Right. So that so we can't eat chemicals. And then I'm supposed to protect the electrical outlets. And
that's a good one.
What else am I? That's it, right?
Oh my God! They sell. There are special pads that you can get to encircle your entire coffee table.
Okay.
There
Why don't I just put my child inside of an inflatable burble? Okay. You know, and just keep him in there during the day.
It doesn't matter.
If he wants
it doesn't matter what you do. You will come home from. Sorry, go.
No, I'll just roll him around the house, right? And that way, have you ever seen the burble? Do you know what this is? That's the big inflatable ball that people can climb into and run down hills. Okay.
I didn't know it was called a burble, but we have done that at the mall. That is really fun.
Okay, see? So I'll just get a tiny burble, and I'll put the child inside of it, and I'll be like, look, you can go and do whatever you want. He lives in the burble, and we put him into bed at night. Boom, don't have to worry about it. He's not going to hurt himself now. Burble. Hey. Burble, Leslie.
It's a good way to go. I recommend it.
So, all right.
Hey, no, seriously. One time I came home from work and my husband was in the yard doing yard work and my 3 kids were playing in the yard and a bunch of neighborhood kids had come over. And I discovered that the kids were in the process of sharpening sticks with pencil sharpeners.
Right.
And they were, hunting. They were hunting in my backyard.
Yeah.
And my husband was right there doing yard work.
Why would he have a problem with that, though? I did the same thing when I was a kid, right? You make weapons, you do whatever you can. It's like being in prison, right? Like you take whatever material you can to make a shiv or whatever you can get to use that, and you use that to kill lizards and to kill frogs and whatever you can, right? Like that's just part of. It's just part of growing up. What are you talking about? Why are you worrying about the kids making prison yard weapons?
I'm so much worried about my children already knowing how to make shivs than I am about them, bumping their head on the coffee table.
Where do you think they pick that up anyway? Like, where do you think they get the idea? Like, we need to create weapons. Let's take these sticks we found in the yard and this pencil. Like, they're too freaking smart, right? Isn't that the problem?
It's part of their code. It's the genetic code. Just like how they all know to stick the black olives on all of their fingers in order to eat them. It's just something they're born knowing how to do.
Yeah, because I think all right, here's the thing, right? Like, I've never in my entire life I've never been around children. Okay, this baby that I have is the first child that I have ever really interacted with my entire life. I have a younger sister, but she's like only 2 years younger than me. I don't remember her being a kid. So I'm as inexperienced as people can possibly come when it comes to children, right? So like I completely just forgot what I was saying. I'm sitting here trying to build up this entire story, and I completely forgot where I was going. That's what happens when I have children around all the time. I can't even, my brain has been turned to complete and total mush.
Well, get this, okay, because I have 3 kids. My oldest is 13, my youngest is 5. And so, the first time out of the chute, you are a little more psycho with things like baby proofing and sleeping schedules and all the things you think you're supposed to do. So the first major injury one of my kids had, my first, he ran down the hallway and slipped and went head first into an open closet door, so that the open edge of the door went right down the middle. And this was he was 2, maybe 3. This was the day before my sister-in-law's wedding. And so all of the wedding pictures, he's in his cute little toddler suit with these 2 black eyes and a Rocky Balboa nose. And you can't baby proof the edge of a door. That's not in the catalog. How do you stop something like that from happening?
A burble.
Yeah.
That's the only way.
Actually, all of our major injuries happened from running.
Okay.
So maybe one of the tricks is to hobble them.
Tie sandbags to their feet. Okay, so that's all you have to do. You get some nice, good 5-pound sandbags. You secure them to the tops of their feet. Just wrap them up there, and then they can't run. They can still walk. They can slowly sort of trudge their way through the house, dragging their feet along with them, but those little sons of bitches are not going to be able to run. And that, I think, I think you might be onto something with where most of this comes from. Comes from either running or from creating weapons on their own.
It's true. And guess it's not just themselves that they injure. Once they get a little bit older, then they start injuring things that are special to you.
That's what I'm worried. That's what I'm worried about. Like, I don't know if you can see behind me, right? Like, I have a few guitars back here. Like,
Yes.
Yeah, and these are things that I've acquired throughout my life that have extraordinary, like, sentimental value to me. Like, I mean, like, if one of these were to be broken or in any way sort of tampered with, I would be, I may immediately regret having children. I don't know. We haven't gone down that road yet. But I'm thinking I just have to keep, he's gonna be able to break in here though, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like once he's 3, he's gonna figure out how to break into this room, won't he? He'll just go over and cut holes in the ceiling and drop in with a rope or whatever he has to do at that age.
Like
right?
Mission Impossible.
Exactly.
He'll just.
That's just it. I think they're smarter than we give them credit for, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like we don't I feel like we we're like, oh, they're just 3 years old, whatever. They're 2. They can't think. Like they're smarter than we think. At least I think. Maybe it's just not that difficult to be smarter than me. Maybe that's maybe that's what I'm thinking of. Okay.
I don't know.
All right. So you're talking about them starting to break other things. Like let me.
Yeah.
I was on Reddit again.
Okay.
And so I was reading this story that I thought was extraordinarily interesting. Okay, this was posted by Corey's Moo or something Corey's Moo on Reddit, and here's what he's talking about. Right, he has a 3.5-year-old. And I guess this 3.5-year-old, they got him into a routine of being very involved with them every morning, right? So he'll get up, he'll do like his morning chores, he'll help feed the fish, he'll help make breakfast, whatever, he'll go through and help out with everybody through everybody's morning routines. So the 3-year-old got up like extra early one morning and he decided that he's gonna start doing all of his things. So he went and tried to feed the cat, spilled cat food all over the place, made an entire mess. Then he decided he was gonna go on and fix up the aquarium. So he goes to the aquarium and he dumps like all the fish food, all the chemicals, all the salt into the aquarium, destroys the aquarium, kills all the fish. And right, and then he decides that he wants to go help. I guess his dad chips the ice off the windshield. So the kid sort of dresses himself, goes outside, starts trying to chip all the ice off of the car. This kid's 3.5 years old, and one of the neighbors sees him, grabs him as he's out alone in the cold outside, goes to the door, rings the doorbell, wakes the parents up, and they wake up to the neighbor standing there with their child dressed and wet, and they look around their house and all the fish are dead and there's cat food everywhere. And I'm reading this and I'm just like, oh my God, what do I do when this kid can escape his crib, for God's sakes? Like, how is, have you ever had anything like that happen?
Oh God, I have never had one make it outside of the house without us.
All right.
But I have definitely had moments of, oh my God, what have you done? You're in trouble when you don't hear anything coming from their room, right?
Right. Well, I've started to key into that a little bit, right? Because he's got he's got his little playroom over there, and sometimes I like him to try to play by himself for a little while, so I'll put him down, I'll kind of leave and check on him every now and then, and I've noticed that he hasn't even really started causing problems, but once I stop hearing sound, I immediately assume that he's dead. And I jump up and I run into the room and he just sit there doing his thing. I'm like, okay, cool. And then I come back in here and then I'll do something else. And then again, assume he's dead when it's quiet. And it's this cycle that I run through all day long. And I feel like I'm an intelligent person that understands that human beings don't typically just drop dead, especially when they're young and healthy, but I just can't help but think it, and he can't even do anything yet. He's not even to the point.
He's 1, right? He's just turned 1.
Yeah, he's just turned 1, so he can't even really do anything. But God, scaring the living shit out of me.
Yeah, that is scary. That is really horrible.
But what's the scariest thing that you've experienced with you? It's like, what's the one that you would just never want to live through ever again? Like the thing that you were just like, oh my
Jesus.
God, I just can't handle this.
I know exactly what it was. I was pregnant with my second child. And so my firstborn was about 2.5. And we went to visit a friend for dinner. And this friend lived kind of in the woods. Their house was not in a neighborhood or a subdivision. It was sort of out there in the middle of nowhere.
Okay.
And it was one of those situations where my husband thought I was watching the 2-year-old, and I thought my husband was watching the 2-year-old. And I went in the house to, just help out in the kitchen or see what was going on. And there was my husband and no 2-year-old. And so we both turned to each other like, where's the kid? And said, oh, I thought you had him. No, I thought you had him. Well, we both started doing circles around the house, screaming his name.
Oh, my
and
God.
Had no idea where he was. And so my friend and my friend's father joined in the search. And so we had to spread out through the woods and run these large circles calling his name. And I absolutely was terrified that he had fallen into a ditch or a stream or a pond, wouldn't be able to swim. And I was pretty pregnant, and I just remember running and just being so absolutely terrified. And he was gone for about 10 minutes. We called the police, and that was the longest 10 minutes of my life.
Right.
And when we found him, I bet he wasn't 20 feet from the house, but he was hiding behind a tree, and he thought he was in trouble because we were all screaming his name.
Oh my God. So he was hiding because he thought that you were like coming to like you were like,
yes.
Oh.
Truly the longest 10 minutes of my life.
Wow.
Awful.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I mean, that was the moment when I decided that those parents who put the leashes on their kids
Yeah, they're
are
not.
pretty damn smart.
Yeah. Yeah, like you know what we need to do? We need to come up with
Right.
like a combo burble on a leash, like maybe, like,
Yes. Yes.
we may be onto something here, right? Because
I would totally low jack my kids. I would, you know how you can have your dogs microchipped with the GPS? I would do that on one of my kids in a heartbeat.
I was thinking about this the other day because I was like, like we're in an age now where things are totally different, right? Like when we were kids, like the idea of being able to remotely track your children wherever they went was like not even like it wasn't, you couldn't even imagine it, right? Like it wasn't even an option. And now like I'll track the living shit out of this kid until he's 19 years old. I don't I don't care. I will secretly put GPS devices in his backpack. I'll track his phone, whatever it is. Like I don't freaking care. Like
I would inject it under the skin behind his little
then they can't
ear.
then they can't get it out. That's right, because they're going to be smarter with technology than us. They're going to be able to outsmart us putting the sensors in. But if you inject it, you're right. Just inject the damn thing. I'll do it. I would do it right now. In fact, I'll go wake up my baby and bring him in here right now, and I'm injecting this thing.
Do it. Let's do it.
Somebody give me a needle. Put a GPS tracker under this kid's skin. But you're like I would absolutely do it. But I think it's totally easy to do now, right? You're just like, hey, here's an iPhone, you
can do it on the iPhone.
Keep this thing on. If I ever hear that it's off, you're never gonna have an iPhone or leave the house ever again, right? I don't know. Like how old are your kids? Are they like all like little kids or?
I've got 13, 10, and 5.
Leslie, what did you have your first baby when you were 19 or something? When you were
Thank you. That is so kind of you to say. But no, I'm 43.
Oh, okay. All right. So you get they span a pretty good range of years there. Like the teenager is. How is the teenager? Because I'm terrified of teenagers in general. That's how I knew that I was starting to get old, right? Like maybe like 7 or 8 years ago, like I didn't fear teenagers, right? I kind of still felt something of a kindred spirit with the teenagers, and now I fear them and I hate them everywhere I go. If I see teenagers, I'm afraid of them and I automatically hate them, and that's how I know. That's how I know
that you're old.
That I'm starting. That's it. That was the moment where I was like, okay, I'm starting to get old because I think terrified of all.
No, they're not all that bad. I think the ones you see out and about tend to be the scarier ones. Like my 13-year-old. Now I know I'm biased because he's your child.
Snowflake. Yeah.
But he's a great kid, and his friends are really nice kids. Now he's in the Boy Scouts and he's in the band and he's smart, so he's not one of those disrespectful, obnoxious teenagers with his pants hanging down around his knees. He's a really great kid. Okay. So I'm lucky.
Well, yeah, you are. Well, I mean, but that's all. But you can take full credit for that, right? I mean, is it like because I keep trying to explain to my wife. My wife keeps trying to sort of like lay out like sort of like her imagination, like what the kid's going to be and how the kid's going to grow up. And I'm like. I think you have to sort of like relax with that stuff because I mean I feel like the parents only have like once they get to a certain age, our influence becomes very small, right? And they
right.
Like you have to if you're gonna try to shape their personality, you got to do it before they're like 10, because otherwise it's the moron children that they hang out with that shape it from that point forward, isn't it? Like
that. Yes, that is so true. Are you a fan of Freakonomics?
I've never actually read. This is the book, right? I don't think
the book,
no, I have not
and it's
read
also a podcast. And there's a really great episode you should listen to or read about, what influence parents have on children.
Oh, I bet it's really depressing. Oh, I bet it's depressing because I mean, you can only do so much, right? Because they think that we're like the stupidest people on the planet. Like we don't know jack shit. And their little idiot friends, they're the ones that know everything. So they're the ones that they're going to listen to. So
yeah.
Why am I doing this? I don't know why I'm a parent. I have no business having children. None.
No.
I'm so
you
completely
absolutely
clueless.
do.
I'm so completely clueless. You have no idea.
You know what? We all are. When we get started, when we first have children, it's not like you get the manual that says, here's what to do and here's what to do in this situation. So much of it is you find your way as you go. Yeah, and luckily, they're pretty resilient little critters. They really are. I mean, there's a lot worse that goes on for some kids out there than what we're doing to our kids.
Well, see, that's what I was thinking. Then if when you go to the parent, those parenting classes you go to when you have the first baby, where you're just like, we don't know what we're doing, we have to take these classes, and that you end up not using any of the information they give you or whatever. Like, why don't they that's when they should do it? They should be like, here's the manual, here's the burble, like that's all you need, right? Now go out there, like forget this Lamaze stuff, because quite frankly, you're gonna forget it all the second that you feel an ounce of pain. So we're going to skip all that. Manual, burble, go. We'll see you when you decide to come back and have the baby. Godspeed and good luck to you. That's exactly what it needs to be. See, I should be in charge.
Why don't you set that up? Create a class.
There's a burble with a leash and a manual.
You could probably market those on the internet and make a gazillion dollars.
I'm seriously considering it now because I mean, I guess there's a lot of helicopter parents out there now, right? And
my God,
yeah, not my
get
thing.
Me started.
I'm afraid my wife might want to move down that path, and I'm gonna have to try to reel her in a little bit. I'm afraid, just a little bit. It might just be because she's a new mom, but I think she might relax on it as the kids get a little bit older. But there's a lot of those parents out there, and if and might want to take advantage of that from an early age, right? I mean, if they're like, just say, hey, why not put your child in this burble, and then everything is going to be okay. Yeah,
because you said it earlier in the show. You said it yourself that if they don't learn it themselves at some point, how to not fall down or how to not stick their tongue in the ceiling fan, then they're just going to keep making mistakes. We have to give them a little bit of credit to find their way.
Yeah, and we just have to somehow and just never give them a stainless steel water bottle ever again either, right?
No, get rid of the stainless steel water bottle.
What are you supposed to drink out of now? Just Camelback's bottle? Camelback.
I guess.
Day. You can pay me $5 for drinking this bottle. What's the going rate for product placement in podcasts these days? $5?
Is there such a thing?
I have no idea.
Hey, so I have something funny to show you.
What do you got?
My kids have actually broken so many special things of mine over the years that
you decided to scare the hell out of me at the very end, huh?
Well, the first couple times it happened, I was really sad. And then after a while, I started just saving the things that they would break, thinking that it was kind of funny and that someday I would like to torture them with this information.
Okay.
So I created a shit my kids ruined box. It says SMKR.
Okay.
And inside of it, they don't know I have this.
Sure.
This is our little secret.
This is what you bust out at when they go on their first like prom date or something like that.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. Or it becomes part of the wedding video or whatever.
Sure. All right.
But so I've saved some special things over the years that I thought you might enjoy. This is my most recent addition. It's part of an antique McCoy pottery collection.
McCoy sounds fancy.
Yeah, it's fancy. All the women in the audience are going,
okay,
not the McCoy.
All right, never heard of it, but it sounds. If the pottery has a name, then I'm thinking it's probably not cheap.
So this is it's collectible. It's from like the 1930s, and it was a beautiful pot that I had on my counter, and I had been storing some markers in it, and the kids knocked it off the counter. So that's what happened to that one.
All right.
Okay, here's my all-time favorite. Well, I have two all-time favorites.
Was this one of the more heartbreaking items here?
Yeah, this was one of the more heartbreaking. I had a vintage Fisher-Price Little People collection.
Oh, it's worth this? Like $100,000.
Yeah, I'm serious. Each one of these bought independently on eBay is, a few bucks for sure. Well, this is the one. This is Susan from Sesame Street.
Okay.
Who my kids called Oprah because she looks a little bit like Oprah. And one day, I noticed that she was melted to a light bulb.
Oh,
can you see
that's
that?
An unfortunate. What? It's so obscene looking.
Yeah, it really is. It totally looks like an electrical speculum.
Yeah.
But poor Susan Oprah got melted to the light bulb. So I saved that.
They just stuck her up. They just stuck Oprah on top of the light bulb and forgot about her and it walked off.
And she melted.
Lucky that Oprah didn't burn the house down with that one. Actually, when you think about it.
Thank God.
Like that could have been a lot. That one could have been a lot worse. So really.
All right, and one more.
Okay.
This is a magnetic rock.
Okay.
It seems, innocent enough.
It looks like it's in good shape.
It's in good shape, but the reason I saved this is because one day when my daughter was about 5 and we were having my youngest baptized, we had a big family party and my 5-year-old daughter came up to all the adults sitting at the adult table and said, "Hey, you guys want to see a magic trick?"
Okay.
And of course, we were all like, "Yeah, let's see your magic trick."
We love magic.
And so she lifted up her dress and demonstrated to us that a magnetic rock similar to this was stuck to the outside of her belly button.
Oh, Jesus.
And we were all like, "Oh, bravo, that is such a cool magic trick. How did you do that?" And that's when she informed us that she swallowed another one just like it.
See, they're so smart.
They're so smart. And so I had to call the pediatrician and say, "Oh my God, my daughter just swallowed a magnet. Is she going to die?" And they said, well, find out how many magnets she swallowed, because if she swallowed more than one, you need to get her to the emergency room as fast as you can. But she swore she only swallowed one. So, job.
So then you had to do like you had to sit her down with the spotlight in her face and do the whole interrogation. Like you have to be like, "Look, you're not going to be in trouble if you say that you ate more than one, right? So did you eat 2? Did you eat? It's okay. It's okay if you ate 2 or 3. We just have to know how many magnets you ate."
The line is, you're not in trouble as long as you tell the truth, honey.
Right. Yeah, but kids know that's a lie.
The spotlight didn't have to go in her face. The spotlight actually had to go in the toilet because then I had to spend the next 3 days trying to recover this mofo.
And that's it right there.
This is it. Don't worry, it's been washed and sterilized so many times it's not even funny. But I decided to save it because someday when she has her first major breakup or heartbreak, I'm going to make it into a necklace and with a little tag that says, "This too shall pass."
That magnet has the greatest story I've ever heard in my entire life.
It really does.
That's
it
extraordinary. All right. Well, hopefully, maybe in like a year, I'll be able to pull the fragmented pieces of one of these beautiful guitars back here out of a box and say, look what he broke. And I still love him so much. I still love him. Oh, I love him. I love him.
We do love them. I mean, that's the thing.
Look,
It's the important thing is, like you said, that they didn't burn down the house, or that they didn't die when they swallowed the magnet.
Yeah,
so it sort of makes those destruction tales a little more endearing.
Yeah, and you know what? If the devil walked in the room right now and was like, you smash that guitar and your child won't kill themselves between now and the age of 22 in some horrible accident, I'd be like, all right, take it, smash it, whatever.
Definitely.
Fine. Just don't take that one. Take anyone but that one, and then we'll be all good.
You better just hang those up a little higher on the wall, honey.
I hung them up before he was born, and I wasn't really. I thought I was being smart. I was like, you know what? They were on the floor, so I was like, you know what? I'm gonna hang all these up so they're out of reach, and then he's one. He's already like almost able to pull them down, so I'm already fucked. So,
yep.
Oh well. All right. Hey, next week I got one interesting thing that I didn't want to get into today because I thought it opened up a whole range of fun stuff. Have you seen the video of these Dutch male TV hosts that had female labor simulated on them using like electrodes and all this? I see by your face you probably haven't seen this video. So I guess,
No.
Yeah. All right. It's great. Next week we'll kind of go through the video a little bit, listen to these guys writhe around in pain, and maybe get into some of that, okay?
Talk about birth stories and vaginas and stuff.
I love talking about vaginas, especially when it has
that's
to do
my
with,
specialty.
especially when it has to do with birth. We were talking because I like wrapping these things up sometimes with these cheesy parent raps that are on YouTube. And I asked you for your favorite one last week, and you told me about it was like the Toyota Scion one or something. I was like, oh, no, we're not. That one's a commercial. I don't want to play the commercial ones. And I played one that I learned it's actually a Fiat commercial, the one that I like. Apparently, if anything's funny on the internet, it's a commercial for something.
Damn it.
Yeah, exactly. So, hey, if people want to read your blog, it's thebeardediris.com, right? Like the greatest.
Beardediris.com and also inthepowderroom.com.
And it's like the greatest mother blog. That's why you're a mother blogger.
The greatest one.
The greatest mother blogger of all time, right there. So yeah, this was a Fiat commercial, but I just like it because it's a British chick rapping, and you don't hear that very often, right? So we'll see you next week. It's gonna be episode 2. I think we made it through episode 1, which is actually impressive.
Woohoo!
Did a good job.
Thanks, Jody.
See you next week. Later.
This is my crib, and these are my babes. My life and body have somewhat changed. I'm living it large, and by large I mean bigger. At least now I know the difference between a tractor and a digger. I express
you're really into this, I can
these
see.
holes in my chest. Wear my nursing bra like a bulletproof vest. Got my bitches at my side.
Don't ever do that in front of your son.
Oh no, that's when I do it.
It must destroy him. He must love it when he sees mom.
Nearly always sticky.
Put down the window and pull up to the curb.
With my elbows deep.
Hey!
Infant defecation. Wipe the sick off my coat, but the smell still lingers. Gave up on real food.